All right, sports fans, how are we going to test to see whether or not my extremely basic pencil box can actually hold a pencil? Well, if I can't build it and then put real physical pencils in it, I would have to simulate that. So to do that, I'm going to actually import some models of a pencil, and I suppose I could bring in other things too, to show whether or not they fit. So what I'll do is I will go and find a 3D model of a pencil online. And to do that, I just go over to Google and I start searching. And I did a search on free 3D pencil or 3D model pencil, and I came to free 3D. There are many other websites, including Thingiverse, which is here, and you can search there. But I found one that I think will help here, and it's this. I just did a quick search on pencil. There it is, and then I pulled up this model of a pencil. It's free. I could download it and use it. Um, that ended up, I've downloaded it and extracted it. And once I've extracted my file, I've got this pencil.obj. So that's an object file which I am able to import into Fusion 360. So I will show you how we do that. So over in Fusion 360, in the Insert menu, I'm going to say Insert Mesh. And then I'm going to go and find a mesh model of the pencil. In this case, it's that one that I downloaded a moment ago, and there it is, the pencil.obj file. And I bring that in. And the first thing I'm going to need to do is to kind of get the pencil positioned. Once it imports it, it's going to ask you where to put it. So I'm going to pull it over here. I'll rotate it up a little bit until it's at minus, or it's at, I don't think that's right. There we go. Let's go to 90 degrees. That doesn't, there you go. That looks better. And I'm going to use one of these helpful commands here, move to ground. I'll click on that, and it kind of moves it to the same ground plane as our pencil box. And then I'm going to say OK. So I've got this facsimile or a representation of what a pencil might be like. To see if it's to scale, though, I'm going to measure it. So I'll go under Inspect, and I'll bring up Measure, and I'm going to sort of measure from a point on the bottom, and I'll bring up a point near the top of the model. There we go. Now that's telling me that the pencil is close to 340 millimeters. That's 34 centimeters. That's almost double what a pencil normally would be. So I'm going to have to scale it. So how do we scale a mesh model inside Fusion 360? Well, when we imported that pencil, it added a whole bunch of bodies, and these files over here are all the constituent parts of the actual pencil model that was imported. And they're meshes, they're not solid bodies like we're used to making in Fusion, so we have to edit those separately. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to right-click and edit the body. And then as soon as I'm in Edit, I can actually now modify these things. And under the Modify menu, I'm going to bring up Scale. And it's going to ask me, what do I want to scale? In this case, I'm going to select all of those entities. And you can see that I've selected them all. And now I can put in a scale factor of 0.5 to give me a 50% scale model. And I'll say OK. So at this point, I can finish my mesh, and I go back to my main timeline. And I've still got that mesh model. And I can now measure it again. I'll bring up the Measure tool, and I'll measure from the bottom to the tip there. And that's a little closer to what a normal pencil would be like. And I think it's a pretty good sort of representation of whether or not my pencil holder will, in fact, hold pencils. So let's do that then. I've got my pencil there. I'm going to move those things over. I'll move the, this thing all together. I can just select them all and then move them into position in my pencil holder. And I'll, you have to play around with it a bit to get it to the point where it's, exactly in the right position. But, by noodling around with it, you can eventually get it all in the right position. So I'll position that at the exact orthographic view of the left side, and I'll move it up until the bottom of the eraser there is close-ish to the, bring it down slightly more. There we go. That's pretty close. Now, for a simulation of this nature, you're not really trying to get it to be perfect, right? I mean, you're just trying to show, okay, this is what a pencil would look like inside my pencil box. And to make, so as a simulation, it's reasonable. It's giving you good visual feedback about whether or not the pencil box is the right size. So there we go. Importing and inserting STL models from outside on the internet to test whether or not our product will function. And that's what we've got for now.